It's good. Two weeks ago, we got access to Savathun's Imbaru engine, which is a puzzle room where you have to find what chest corresponds to the correct hive room. We'll return to this in a minute, so just keep that in the back of your mind for now. This past week, however, Eris was able to sever Zero Wrath's connection to her throne world, thus making her mortal and completing our side of the deal with Savathun. In return, she very cryptically says that she needs time to hold her end of the bargain, but as a show of good faith, she left Imbaru with the Vanguard. Now, I immediately got suspicious of this because Savathun never does something that doesn't benefit herself. Now, you can say that her benefit is us going after the Witness, but I don't buy that. Firstly, because that would imply she genuinely thinks the Guardians can take down the Witness, and secondly, because even if she does, I highly doubt her ego would ever allow her to admit that. This is the Hive God of trickery and deceit we are talking about here. Nothing is easy when dealing with her. I do have a crackpot theory that might just explain what she gets to gain here by helping us, and it starts off with Imbaru. Now, I would like to preface this by saying that this theory heavily relies on an entry in the lore book Truth to Power, which if you don't know is a book of lies and deceit, so take this theory with a grain of salt. The first ever mention of Imbaru in Destiny was in the Truth to Power lore book, where Savathun is explaining her massive plan to a thrall. She explains that Imbaru is how she gains her tithe through trickery and deceit. It works like this. If after fully explaining her plan to said thrall, and the thrall is very confused on what was said, and does not understand it at all, that generates a lot of Imbaru. However, if somehow the thrall was able to comprehend it all, it would still generate a small amount of Imbaru due to the struggle needed to comprehend said plan. And this is almost identical to how Zero Wrath gains her ties through war. Going back to the Season of the Seraph, the entire season was focused on rebuilding the Warmind Rasputin, and bringing the network of powerful warsats back online and in our control. We later realized that regardless of what we did, however, that Zero Wrath would still win. If we were to activate the warsats and attack Zero Wrath's forces, this act of war would be strong enough to give her the power needed to send a massive amount of troops that were surrounding the last city in the Ascended Realm into reality and invade said city. But if we don't use them at all, Zero Wrath can generate power at a slower pace through normal means. This actually changes our understanding of the Imbaru engine entirely. It in and of itself is not the engine. Us going into it and solving/failing the puzzles inside it is what generates the Imbaru. This whole thing immediately gave me answers to two questions. First, being what Savathun seeks to gain from her partnership with Vanguard, and secondly, what in the is Savathun's song? To cast back a few years to Shadowkeep, the first we heard of Savathun's song, not including the strike of the same name from Vanilla D2, as it doesn't pertain to this theory, was in the Season of the Arrivals inside the Prophecy Dungeon.
Hey, Three Eyes. Shax says you sang him a little ditty.
What?
Shax, Chunky Titan, One Horn. Did you sing him a song on the moon?
What a senseless question.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Stay off this channel. Should I need you, I'll call. Wait.
I didn't hang up.
Does that oaf still keep that skull with him?
In the tower? Yeah, hangs it over his spot. I wouldn't have tangled with that thing.
Desperate times. This lil ditty. Did it go?
That would be the one. What is it?
Savathun's song. It's a viral chant. It can never be unheard. Now that Savathun has announced herself, relics of the dark across the system have begun to awaken. Tell Shax to remove that skull immediately.
Sister, I already tried.
What did that oaf say?
No.
Now you may start to see the similarities between Savathun's song and Imbaru. The fact that they are both a type of viral language that once heard you cannot unhear. This is already concerning, but this is not the first time, nor the last time, we would hear this melody. Before this happened, we heard a similar conversation between Shax and State 14 during the Devil's Ruin quest.
You know, when I walk the streets of the city, the children demand I carry them. I do so, but I ask them to sing me a song. A song of their people.
No, I refuse.
Then you can pay me. A titan is only as good as his word.
But I don't know any songs.
Make something up.
Oh, let me see. Eris hummed a few bars on the moon. How did it go? I'm on the moon. It's made of cheese.
That is awful.
It's not my song. It's Eris's.
But even that was the first time we have ever heard it. Another thing of note is that Savathun's song is everywhere in Shadowkeep's soundtrack. One example that is actually still in the game is during the Scarlet Keep strike. Listen for it the next time you play it. This wouldn't be the last we heard of this melody either. In the Season of the Chosen, one of the idle lines Crow can do in the Helm is whistle that same tune. But the most recent and most concerning time we heard this tune was in the next season, the Season of the Splicer. While talking to Lakshmi 2 at the holo projector, she says this.
Have you heard the song of the people echoing through the city? Rise up as one, march toward the sun. Rise up as one, march toward the sun.
This made a bad situation to an even worse one, especially when we remember that the story of that season was that the last city was intertwined with a Vex simulation creating an eternal night. This simulation, of course, being the works of the Vex mind Korea, a mind that was partially taken and was being controlled by Savathun. Now imagine how much Embargo Savathun can generate by both the people who were ignorant to what the song was and the people who did know of it but didn't know what its purpose was. As bad as that sounds, we need to look to the future and what Savathun's current scheme is, as I am very confident that I know exactly what she is planning. Another part of the same lore entry from earlier in Truth to Power describes a scheme Savathun had in order to generate Embargo more efficiently. She had taken a thrall and put it in the reaches of a singularity, which is a fancy word for black hole. When you're in the reaches of a singularity, time slows down for you. What for you could be weeks, months, or years, for everyone else on the outside, only a minute would have passed. By having the thrall passively generate Embargo while in the reaches of a singularity, it produced said Embargo at an exponentially faster rate. This plan, however, failed as the thrall's worm figured out the trick. Now, say by traveling through a singularity, it led you to a whole other world, with its own people who do not have worms. In theory, Savathun could use the same plan she used on the thrall, but on those people using her song. This would be incomprehensibly catastrophic, but, I mean, it's not like there's a singularity meeting those qualifications in the Sol system, right? Mere days before the collapse, the Exodus program was launched. This program was created in order to colonize planets outside of our solar system. One of the ships in this program was called the Exodus Green. At some point after passing through the asteroid belt, the ship saw the Black Fleet. In a last-ditch effort to save themselves, the ship sent out a message to the fleet, declaring them neutral to the fight between the fleet and the Traveler, and to consider them separate from humanity. The fleet would then be met with a blast of light from the Traveler, which was met with an equal blast of darkness. The force of the two beams was so immense that a singularity was made to compensate, which the Exodus Green was later dragged into. The people of the Exodus Green later awoke on an alien planet inside of the Singularity. This is where the awoken people were born, and would later name this place the Distributor. After millions of years, part of the population decided to leave and return to the Sol System. And when they did, they discovered that mere hours had passed outside of the Singularity. The question now is, how in the does this connect to following the Witness? After completing the Lightfall campaign, while doing activities on Neomuna, there was a chance to hear Neomuna Civil News talking about the portal on the Traveler.
The link established between the Veil and the Traveler's so-called Pale Heart created a portal through which the Pyramid Fleet leader escaped. Professor Alagi Ahmed commented, "It appears to be an Einstein-Rosen bridge, but with paracausality."
An Einstein-Rosen bridge is the technical term for a singularity, as well as in the following cutscene. When the 3 pyramid ships enter the portal, they appear both compressed and stretched. This is theorized to happen when entering a singularity. Lastly, in the lore book for this season, Rites of Passage, in the entry titled Contingency Plans, a recording from Savathun tells Imaru, quote, "If the Awoken Queen somehow discovers the pattern before I'm resurrected, the Guardians may attempt to take the heirloom by force. It won't be Mara's idea, of course. Now what the heirloom is, I have no clue, but I'm pretty certain of what it can do. Give us the ability to pass through a singularity." To recap, Imbaru is the way Savathun gathers ties through deceit and trickery, with Savathun's song being a major method of doing so. With how similar the portal on the Traveler and the Singularity/portal to the Distributor are, it is very likely that Savathun's part of the deal is to give us some form of the pattern/heirloom she has, so we can enter the Traveler while she affects the Awoken that are still inside of the Distributory with Savathun's song/Imbaru. With all of that done, if you somehow enjoyed this fever dream, please leave a like and comment, and if you somehow want to see me make more of these videos, subscribe and ring that notification bell even though it does nothing. Alright, I'm gonna go take a nap. See ya.